Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We've not yet started.
Okay, so we're starting in 10 minutes.
Yes, but we have two attendees. I think we are live on the webinar.
Okay. Mosi has raised their hand, so maybe is he or he muted?
I just
something.
allowed him to speak.
Oh, okay. He can hear us, or is he in the waiting room?
Now, okay.
Go away.
Good
Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. We are in the meeting room. We are waiting with anesthesia at the hospital. And we don't know the language of the discussion.
Sorry?
We are in the staff meeting room with all the team of anesthesia.
Okay, which hospital?
Rumonge Hospital.
Ko?
Rumonge.
Oh, Rumonge. Okay. We still have around 8 minutes, so we are giving other attendees time to come in.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll start at 4:30 as we had announced. Or that will be 3:30 for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
How many are you in the room with Samosi?
Sorry?
How many are you in the room?
We are 3 and we are 4.
Okay.
And we are still waiting for 2 anesthesia. We have 2 doctors, 2 anesthesia. The one will be online. And now we have 2 emergency cases. No OR. Maybe OR will come after the operation. But
Okay.
we are with the chief of the anesthesia and the one and another one. And the two.
You are welcome, Mr. Mosi. As it was announced by Magdalena, we'll start very soon.
Okay. Sorry, another question. Hello?
We can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I would just to know the language of the discussion. The language.
We can make it mixed.
Okay, it should be good for us.
If you have a point to raise in French, you can still make it. But the presentation can be in English, but if you have a point that you want to raise in French, you can still raise it up, and then we'll share what is
Okay.
there for discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Access au médecine,
Hi everyone.
Hello all, welcome to the Gradient Health System product-based webinar. We're going to focus on the UMV. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the Q&A feature to ask us. We do have a hospital from Burundi, so from time to time, we will be explaining the use of the UMV in French, and they will also be asking questions in French. Bienvenue, mes collèges, à Rumonge, l'hôpital de Rumonge. Je ne parle pas français beaucoup, je parle un peu, mais bienvenue pour la training de l'UMV. Cette training, c'est pour utiliser la machine UMV avec le UAM de gradient. So this webinar is being recorded. You will receive a copy of the recording following this webinar. The recording of this webinar will also be available on your website, on our website, sorry, as stipulated below. If you would like to share any feedback or have any questions, please email at customers@gradienthealth.org. Our representative, our trainers will be Dr. Sweetbat from Tanzania and Dr. Papicho from Zambia, and also Dr. Ndaba from Zambia. Dr. Papicho speaks French also, so he'll be helping in translating some of the questions that our partners in Rumonge will have. Please feel free to ask any questions. We are here to help you. And if you feel like you need more training, we are here. Please reach out to us and we can organize for a hospital training in terms of online training, this webinar. So I will welcome Dr. Papicho to take us through. Dr. Papicho, please take us through now.
Thank you very much, Magdalena, and welcome to everyone to this webinar on the UMV. We'll start by talking on few points. We'll discuss what is mechanical ventilation. We're going to discuss the benefit of mechanical ventilation during anesthesia. We'll discuss the special feature of the UMV. We'll also discuss the mode of ventilation on the UMV. We'll list technical aspects of the UMV. What are the steps for UMV pre-use checklist and calibration? We are going to outline the step for initiation of mechanical ventilation on the UMV. We'll also discuss the parameters on the UMV that you do monitor during ventilation and the common challenges that we do face when using the UMV. At any time when you want to have a question or you want to have more clarification, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll give you an opportunity to speak and we make it open for everyone to make some comment. We want this to be very interactive. We want everyone to participate. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. As it was announced, I'm Dr. Papicho, talking to you from Livingstone in Zambia, a Gradient clinical trainer. I'll be there for you during this session together with my other colleagues, Dr. Sweetbird and Dr. Ndaba. So to start with, we want to remind ourselves How do we define mechanical ventilation? Who can unmute himself and give us in short, just in a few words, what is mechanical ventilation? Our participants, feel free. We make it interactive. It's like a sharing session. We're not here to teach, we are discussing, all of us. Monsieur Mossi, c'est quoi la ventilation mécanique? Comment vous entendez par ça? Am I audible, Magdalena?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I was just talking to myself. Our participant, anyone to come up and tell us what you understand by mechanical ventilation?
Monsieur.
Okay,
Yes.
Ok. Sorry, on s'excuse, le micro était muté. The audio was difficult to respond. Do you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Please be close to the microphone so that we can hear you properly.
You say? What? Sorry?
Allez-y, nous vous écoutons maintenant. Qu'est-ce que vous entendez par la ventilation mécanique? Vous pouvez vous exprimer même en français, c'est bon.
C'est la ventilation artificielle, c'est pas manuelle.
Ok, c'est bon. Merci pour votre participation dans cette question. Yeah, just as Mr. Mosi has said, mechanical ventilation. Next slide, please. Mechanical ventilation is a process of taking air in and out of the lungs using a machine. Okay, and in this case, the machine that we are talking about is when you're using a UAM ventilator, when you're using to ventilate your patients, that's mechanical ventilation. And a few indications for mechanical ventilation in anesthesia. Like I know long years when anesthesia just started, it was a challenge to ventilate a patient or to take a patient to a lung surgery because when the patient is relaxed, they lost the capacity of in-out respiratory activities. So they needed to be supported by bagging. And for a surgery that is taking 6 hours, 6 hours. So you are just seated there, you are immobilized, you can't move, you can't go anywhere. But with mechanical ventilation, you are capable of performing lung surgery without any fear. You can easily use muscle relaxant because patients will be supported during mechanical ventilation. The airway is protected, and then you can give a balanced anesthesia, a proper anesthesia without any fear of deepening your patient for you to happen to relax and balance and ventilate the patient. So ventilation during anesthesia is a technique that is being used widely now. Everyone would like to use a machine that is ventilating so that they can provide a better anesthesia. Next slide, thank you. After defining mechanical ventilation, what could be the benefits? Après avoir donné la définition, quels sont les bénéfices de la ventilation mécanique pendant l'anesthésie? Doroth Aimo. Doroth Aimo. Doroth Maimo.
On peut parler.
Oui, ok, allez-y. You can speak.
Je disais que le bénéfice, c'est d'assurer l'oxygénation des poumons et ainsi d'évacuer le CO2 au niveau des poumons.
Ok. Merci. Some other thing, another benefit for mechanical ventilation who can come through? Nenia, welcome. I've seen you've just joined. Or Doroth, what could be the benefit of mechanical ventilation during anesthesia? Okay, as Doroth is trying to get through, we can say, next slide, the big benefits that we have during during anesthesia when using mechanical ventilation, it gives you a freedom of attending to other issues that surround the operation. You might need to dilute some more drugs that you give your patient. You might need to check other commodity or consumables that you need to give to your patient. It gives you free hands, and then you can multitask. And then it ensures you that at every time there's a steady tidal volume that is being given to the patient and at a steady rate. Okay. There's a good monitoring because you have a monitoring parameters that is being given to you from your screen. You're capable of seeing what you are giving and what the patient is giving out. The breathing is under control. So these benefits make anesthesia very easy and very safe for patients, and the surgeon enjoys it. When patient is nicely relaxed, patient is breathing okay, all parameters are stable, and yourself even seated there, you have hand-free, it's easy for you to record your parameters. It's easy for you to write your note. It's easy for you to do other tasks as anesthesia and surgery taking place. Next slide.
Hello, Dr. Papicho.
Yes, please.
Yes, I just wanted also just to quickly come in with an emphasis on one of the points that you have mentioned. My name is Dr. Ndaba from Zambia. So I remember when I was a trainee, we went for outreach, and then we got to a hospital where the anesthesia machine that was there had no ventilator. And so for every case, whether long or short, laparotomy or the major case, they would always manually ventilate the patient by hand. And I know there are many places where that is happening for obvious reasons that we do not have, equipment and things like that. I actually found it, to be very challenging and also a big risk to the patient, because imagine you are alone and then the patient is paralyzed, you're doing a laparotomy, and then you have to mechanically ventilate by hand. And usually as anesthetists, there are all these things that we want to do when the patient is under GA. You want to write, you want to check on something, you want to prepare drugs, you want to do this, and you're alone. It really becomes a very, very big challenge. So when I look back during that experience, I see that first of all, it's a risk to the patient, because when you leave the patient unventilated, you know what happens. They are not oxygenating well, they are retaining carbon dioxide, and all these complications can set in. And so I think a vent is just as good as the rest of the machine, that we should always make sure that as anesthetists, we have a working vent, or if the vent has a problem, we quickly seek attention for it to be fixed, because manual ventilation by hand does not guarantee adequate ventilation most of the time. So I just thought I make that emphasis. I know my colleagues also have had one or two experiences about what I'm mentioning. So thank you, Dr. Papicho. I just wanted to share one of the experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndaba, for that wonderful input. Actually, what you said is very true, and then it makes it a bit complicated when you're alone, and then sometimes even when you have mechanical ventilation and then you are alone, there are just quite a number of things that you need to do, and then you really need another extra. Now I'm imagining that you don't have a mechanical ventilator, and then you have to do all those things while you are doing manual ventilation. It's really a challenge. Thank you. The next slide, please. Thank you. I believe that we are all here because we use the UAMV, the ventilator on the UAM machine. So my simple question is, whilst we are using this machine, what are the special features that we've noticed on the UAMV? Je disais que nous tous ici, nous utilisons l'UAMV, qui est le ventilateur ou le respirateur qu'on retrouve sur la machine d'anesthésie UAM. En utilisant ce respirateur, quelles sont les caractéristiques spéciales que l'on a constatées avec ce respirateur? You can unmute yourself, please, and speak. We want to hear your comments. What are the special features that you've noticed on the UAMV?
Do you hear me? That is the
Yes,
big,
you are.
there's a big challenge we have at our hospital. We get one of UAMV machine anesthesia, and now it's 1 year we doesn't use it. It's why it's very important for us to be here to listen what you have to do to tell us. Even for what you are saying about the mechanical ventilator, we have the machine, but we doesn't use it because we don't know how to have to work with the machine.
Okay, thank you very much for that important input, Mr. Mosi. We hope that after this session, you have some idea on how to do. But in all, we also request that after this, we can schedule another day for the training that have been pending with your colleagues together with the Gratian team.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone can give us other features? The special features, those who are using the machine? Okay, so we can go to the next slide, please. The features that make the UAMV to be special is the fact that it's fully automatic, electrically driven with a backup of 6 hours. Unlike other machines, they are pneumatically driven, but the machine that you have on the UAMV, the type of machine that you have for the UAMV, it's electrically driven. So it doesn't need gas for it to be driven. No, just to be powered, and then it can give you the service as it requires. The new model of the UAMV do not have bellows. The bellows reduce in timing. Remember, for those who have used the previous type of machine, we had bellows which were giving you a time to prime it constitutes somehow a delay in instituting your ventilation. Another special feature is like it has an oxygen analyzer in it. So you are capable of seeing in real time what is the FiO2 that you are giving to your patient. Another feature that you can find on the UMV is the capnograph. The capnograph, when it comes, it's optional. If you requested for it, it will come and then it will give you the readings of your CO2 in time as you are ventilating your patient. Something else that you need to consider, there's an isolator switch, which always have to be on the ventilator position when you're doing mechanical ventilation. Alors, moi aussi, ça, ce sont les paramètres qui font un peu la machine, que ça soit un peu plus spécial par rapport à d'autres machines. Il y a une batterie qui vous donne 6 heures de ventilation en cas de coupure de courant électrique. Vous êtes en mesure de déterminer votre cas. Vous avez aussi les soufflets n'existent pas dans cette machine par rapport à d'autres machines que vous avez déjà vues. Quand vous faites de la ventilation mécanique, il y a des soufflets et la machine aussi est incorporée d'un analyseur d'oxygène qui vous donne la concentration en temps réel d'oxygène que vous donnez à votre malade. Il y a aussi un capnographe pour la mesure de dioxyde de carbone. Alors, pour plus d'informations sur cette machine, comme je vous ai dit, nous souhaiterions que vous puissiez disposer de plus de temps au courant de la semaine prochaine, si possible, pour que nous puissions discuter en long et en large pour résoudre les problèmes que vous avez. Mais là, déjà, vous pouvez avoir une idée de quoi ressemble sur la machine.
Ok, merci.
Is there any comment from the audience?
No comment.
Okay. What about from the other participants, like Samuel, Koi, Nehemia? Any comment? You can unmute yourself and speak if you have any comment at this point. Mark, next slide, please. I think it means it's clear for our friend. Et d'autres paramétrages spéciaux, c'est que la machine qui est posée, le ventilateur ou le respirateur qui est posé sur la machine a une connexion spéciale. Okay? Vous avez deux tubulures qui passent de la machine vers le respirateur et une autre voie qui vous donne du respirateur vers la machine comme la voie de sortie du gaz carbonique. Alors, ceci vous permet de continuer à utiliser le capteur d'oxygène et vous donner la concentration réelle en utilisant l'analyseur qui est incorporé dans la machine, même quand vous ne faites pas la ventilation mécanique. So a few more features that we are talking about here is that all fresh gas passes through the UMV. Even if you are not using the UMV, even if you are doing just on front ventilation, you have to switch on your UMV so that you have an idea at every time what is the FiO2 that is being given to the patient. There are two pipes that we are seeing behind here. The two pipes connect the UAM to the UMV. There's one pipe that is taking fresh gas flow from the UAM to the UMV, and the other one takes back the used gas from the UMV to the UAM, and then it goes out from the exhaust pipe. If we have used the UAMV before, who can mention for us the few type of ventilation that you find there? Okay, so next slide, please. Our machine has 3 modes of ventilations. You can do volume control, you can do pressure control, you can do spontaneous. Okay, remember that when you are doing volume control in this mode, the volume that you are giving is constant, but the pressure is a variable. So the pressure will vary based on the structures where the gas is passing, depending on the compliance of the patient's respiratory tract and chest. That is going to generate a pressure based on the volume that is given. And then if the compliance is not so good, you might have high pressure, and then it's up to you to play around with your parameters on the ventilation for you to keep ventilation safe. On pressure control, there you set a pressure which is going to give you a certain volume that is desired for your patient. If the pressure is too high, you might get a higher volume, which is going to damage the patient's lungs. So it's always advisable, if you are doing your pressure control, you start with a low target pressure, giving you a certain volume, which you are going to increase with time until you reach your desired volume. Spontaneous, usually this is a mode that you use during ventilation at the end of surgery when you want to recover your patient. After you've reversed your patient from almost to relaxant, you want to see how good is their breathing pattern. You give them a chance to do this. Or you can still do throughout surgery with spontaneous, depending on what technique you choose to do. So here, pure is the patient who's making his personal effort, breathing, and then you are there monitoring on your screen what are the parameters that the patient is giving you and how you can play around with them. So these are the few slides that on my side I wanted to discuss with you. Before I hand it to Dr. Ndaba, I will ask maybe there could be a comment from the participant, or if none from the participant, the two trainers can also make their comments on the few slides that we've shared. Thank you.
Je peux parler.
Oui, allez-y.
Normalement, la machine était bonne à utiliser. Mais malheureusement, nous, on n'a pas encore commencé à utiliser parce qu'on a eu divers défis à relever parce qu'avant, la machine, donc le respirateur ne fonctionnait pas. Donc, il a fallu même qu'on change les paramètres du respirateur. On a dit réinitialiser les paramètres. Donc, un autre défi, c'était que l'appareil n'avait pas, donc, la source d'énergie, donc l'électricité était vraiment sous intensité, jusqu'à ce qu'on ne pouvait pas utiliser la machine parce qu'on n'a pas de courant suffisant pour exploiter la machine. C'est ça comme défi. C'est ça comme défi.
Ok, c'est bien reçu. Ces points-là, nous allons les discuter un peu plus en profondeur. Soit nous allons parler avec vous, ensemble avec Magdalene aussi. Nous allons prendre un rendez-vous pour voir comment est-ce qu'on peut résoudre tous ces points. Dr. Ndaba, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Papicho. It's sweet bet.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Dr. Sweetbat,
No.
sorry, before you continue, someone has a question.
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, Samuel, you can go ahead. You have an permission to speak. You can unmute.
Samuel, if you are
Samuel?
talking, you are muted. Unmute yourself first.
Hello?
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 Hello, we can hear you.
Yes, I don't know if you are. I mean to ask what the doctor was talking about to spontaneous ventilation.
Yeah.
It's like being extubated. That is the end of the towards the end of the procedure. But also using it even intraoperatively, I can put on the patient on a spontaneous ventilation, and the surgery goes on. Will it be bad for me to do that? Thank you. Hello?
Thank you very much, Samuel, for your question. That's a very good comment. No, actually, the choice of technique to do as you would like to do your patient. You can do spontaneous throughout anesthesia or throughout surgery or throughout the end. Everything is allowable. Everything is okay.
Maybe somewhere to add on that, majority of people when this patient is on spontaneous, they tend to skip the vent and keep the patient on barrel. And of course, putting the vent on standby. So if you do that, it's okay because the patient is breathing. Maybe you have your own way of monitoring. But if you keep the patient on vent, on spontaneous, the vent will still help you in monitoring because it will give you how much tidal volume, it will give you even the ventilation status in general. So if you are using it in intraoperative, even during the case, that's very nice. Actually, that's what we're encouraging people so that at least the vent can help you to in monitoring the patient, because majority of people we have realized when the patient is on spontaneous, they just take the vent off. They don't use the advantage of that of this mode on the UMV. So if you are doing that, I think congratulations. That's very nice. I think that's because you can estimate the volume, you can do whatever, but with the machine helping you, telling you the numbers, that becomes more accurate. So I think that's good. You should keep that. So since you have
Dr.
experience
Sweetbat,
with the vent,
just to cut you short, is it possible for Papicho to repeat that for the Rumonge team in French?
yes, I know my
Yeah,
friend,
sure.
is very good to the point that I cannot translate it, but Papicho will help me.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much for giving supporting. Notre ami Samuel. Samuel, may I please ask which hospital are you from?
He's from Soroti in Uganda.
Oh, ok, thank you. Yeah, je voudrais aussi faire un petit commentaire sur la question qui a été posée par notre ami Samuel de Ouganda. Samuel, il est en Ouganda. L'équipe des Rumonge, vous êtes là? L'équipe des Rumonge, vous êtes encore avec nous?
Oui, on est là.
Ok, c'est bon. Je voulais juste faire un petit commentaire sur la question qui a été posée par notre ami Samuel. Notre ami Samuel voudrait savoir si utiliser le mode spontané avec le ventilateur, le respirateur en soi que nous discutons aujourd'hui était faisable durant toute l'anesthésie. Oui, cela est possible. Vous pouvez utiliser le mode spontanée pendant toute l'anesthésie. En principe, le respirateur vous donne le paramétrage durant votre ventilation, que ce soit en ventilation mécanique ou spontanée, vous êtes en mesure de voir tous les paramétrages sur votre écran. Quel est le volume courant, quel est le, combien de respirations il vous fait, quel pourcentage d'oxygène vous donnez à votre malade et quelles sont les pressions dans les voies aériennes. Tout ça, ça va s'afficher sur votre respiratoire. Alors, je voulais faire ce commentaire, c'était pour dire, même si vous n'êtes pas en mesure d'utiliser les modes compliqués sur votre machine, vous pouvez toutefois laisser votre patient en mode spontané, mais cela vous permet d'avoir le paramétrage qui s'affiche sur votre écran. Merci.
Oh, thank you, Papicho. And I hope Limonge team, they are following us and we'll continue. So I'll be stopping now and then for our colleague Papicho to translate for them so that we go together. So Samuel, since Samuel, you have experience with the vent, I know you do machine check, and I'm sure you know all of those steps. So can you please just elaborate what are the few steps or important area which are important to be calibrated or to be checked before using the UMV? Not the full UAM machine check, just pick few of them, just from your experience. Samuel or anyone who is on call and has experience with the UMV. Mosi, you're welcome. Unmute yourself and then you can talk.
Okay, now we have also a question to ask.
Okay.
Okay, about your machine. One of the anesthesia, or what to talk in French, what we found in the machine.
What?
J'ai une question à vous poser à propos de l'autonomie de la machine en ce qui concerne la batterie. Notre machine capable de brancher d'une prise de CT. Donc, on ne voit pas cet avantage d'économie de l'énergie.
Okay, Dr. Sweetbird, their question is not in relation with what you ask for machine use. They would like to, they've noticed that their machine battery is not taking long time, as we said, 6 hours. So that also, we're going to look at the charging system because already they said they have been having challenges with electricity. Does it charge enough for it to fully charge the battery? That would be another question. La réponse peut-être à votre préoccupation, ce serait de savoir si vous donnez assez de temps à votre machine pour charger la batterie.
Et même si on prend l'activité temps connecté à la prise, donc quand vous déconnectez, la machine s'éteint.
C'est quoi qui s'éteint, le respirateur ou toute la machine, le concentrateur?
Toute la machine, même le respirateur.
Ok, alors il faudra savoir que le concentrateur n'utilise pas la batterie. La batterie que vous avez là, c'est juste pour le respirateur. Le concentrateur qui est en bas, il dépend du courant que vous avez. Si vous débranchez, vous vous éteignez, ça va s'éteindre. Mais si vous êtes en train d'utiliser le respirateur, c'est en ce moment-là que le respirateur va garder la batterie en marche pendant autant d'heures selon qu'elle a été chargée.
OK.
C'est clair avec vous?
Donc, on ne voit pas l'avantage. Alors, si la machine s'éteint,
Que le
en cas de
respirateur.
coupure de courant, Alors, à quoi sert cette batterie? Cette autonomie dont vous avez dit 6 heures.
Ok, alors, là aussi, il faudra savoir que la machine, le respirateur est en mesure de vous donner une anesthésie en utilisant de l'air ambiant. C'est-à-dire, quand vous n'avez pas votre courant électrique, pour allumer le concentrateur, vous avez autre possibilité pour avoir la source d'oxygène. Soit vous avez un cylindre qui est connecté, ou soit vous utilisez le concentrateur, ou soit vous utilisez l'air ambiant, ou soit vous utilisez l'oxygène muraille. Je ne sais pas quel type d'oxygène vous avez chez vous. Alors, si jamais pendant votre anesthésie, vous avez coupure de courant électrique et que vous avez de l'oxygène muraille ou de l'oxygène du cylindre, même si la machine s'éteignait et que vous donnez une ventilation, l'avantage est que vous allez continuer à donner votre anesthésie sans avoir une crainte parce que le respirateur va continuer à fonctionner sans poser de problème parce qu'il y a une batterie et il y a une autre source d'oxygène, que ce soit la source de l'air ambiant, que ce soit la source de l'oxygène muraille ou du cylindre.
Nous, on utilise le cylindre comme le bonbon d'oxygène. Mais nous avons aussi un défi concernant la bonbonne d'oxygène parce que son oxygène n'arrive pas au patient.
Non, l'oxygène va arriver au patient parce que, regardez, souvenez-vous, quand j'ai montré un des diapos là-bas, il y avait 2 tuyauteries derrière. Ces tuyauteries-là sont en train de faire passer l'oxygène frais vers de la machine qui est en bas vers le respirateur. Et là, ça donne du gaz frais. Alors, après que le malade aura expiré, le gaz impur là sera renvoyé par le tuyau d'exhaust en passant toujours par le ventilateur et la machine est sortie. Alors, si vous utilisez l'oxygène de la bonbonne, ça vous permet de continuer à travailler même quand il y a coupure de courant électrique si votre patient était connecté sur le respirateur.
Le souci qu'on a, nous, c'est pas ce que la machine, quand on branche le cylindre, on n'arrive pas à avoir de l'oxygène au niveau des tuyauteries.
Alors là, vraiment, ça a besoin que l'on fasse un training avec vous en spécial pour que l'on puisse décompter tous ces problèmes-là. Ça nous fera un grand plaisir si vous pouvez vous disponibiliser l'un de ces 4, que l'on fasse un bon training.
OK.
In summary, there are challenges for now that the other source of oxygen maybe were not well explained to them. They could not know. In case whereby the power is off, do they have to continue with anesthesia or they have to stop anesthesia? So it's time now to elaborate the other different sources of oxygen that they can use while using the UAM. In short, is that. So we are trying to make up with them a date that we can do a proper schedule for a training so that we cover all those parameters. Thank you, Kaka. You can take it up.
Samuel was, the hand was up. I don't know if you had a question or you wanted to give the answer of what I asked. Samuel. Samuel. Okay, so next slide, Max. So if you have any question or you want to add something, please, participant, you can stop me anytime and then we can discuss. So one of the most important thing to be taken care of, especially of course when using the UMV, is a flow sensor. And actually the flow sensor should be when the breathing circuit is completely assembled and connected to the vent, and of course ready for the patient. This is how it's supposed to be connected. So the blue light, the blue side should be proximal to the patient, and the clear one should be distal to the patient, or of course toward the machine side. But of course, we encourage our users to have the bacteria filter on it. Of course, we all understand why important it is regarding IPC is always emphasized when it comes to anesthesia, and of course, and also healthcare providers. So this is how the breathing circuit should be assembled. Next. Yeah, little bit recap on what Ndaba said is drive hose connection and also flow sensor connection on the vent. So these tubes, which are actually labeled AABB, and they should be connected as indicated on the back at the back of the machine. In the event whereby you don't use the UMV, but it's still available, this has to be connected this way, even if the vent is not used. In the event, for whatever reason, the vent is not available, there's a smaller tube which will connect these two ports here behind the machine, the AA and AB. So they have to be connected so that they can allow the gas to go through the machine. Looking at the flow sensor connection, yes, as it is indicated, the blue goes to the blue side and the clear goes to the clear side, so that the machine can provide you with adequate monitoring as desired. Papicho, next. Before this one, Papicho, can you summarize for our colleague, or I can continue?
Yeah, you can just leave it there, please. Thank you, Magdalena. Quand vous regardez la connexion derrière, il y a, comme nous avons dit là, il y a deux grosses tubulures. Les deux tubulures, il y a des inscriptions sur les points de connexion qui vont vous guider comment faire la connexion. Alors, cette connexion, comme nous l'avons dit, il y a une, c'est pour amener le gaz frais et l'autre pour amener le gaz d'expiration. Alors, la connexion doit être respectée pour ne pas donner un mixage de gaz. Il faut éviter le mixage en faisant un interchange de connexion. Au-dessus là, c'est le point de connexion pour les capteurs d'oxygène que l'on a montré dans le diapo d'avant. Alors, vous avez deux petites tubulures. L'une est bleue et l'autre est claire. Please, Mark, can you go to the previous slide? OK. Quand vous regardez la connexion des deux petites tubulures, du côté de la connexion du patient, quand vous faites votre connexion, c'est là où la tubulure bleue doit être et la tubulure claire doit être en distal. Alors, ceci, c'est pour permettre une bonne lecture de paramétrage. Si vous interchangez ou vous faites une connexion qui n'est pas telle que illustrée ici, vous n'aurez pas de bon paramétrage et la machine va vous donner beaucoup d'erreurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Papito. Next. So, I understand this. So this is the connection when you were doing the flow sensor calibration. The previous one. Max, back?
Sorry, my laptop is misbehaving.
Okay, so I'm not sure which machine you have, but I'm sure those who have done machine check with the flow sensor at the back, I think they should understand this connection. The emphasis here is when you're doing the machine check, we please connect the flow sensor at the top the top O. And of course, the other connection, the blue and the color, whatever, those stay as they are. But for the flow sensor, it has to be connected at the outlet, the top one, the top port. That's where you do the connection for your flow sensor. So the other steps on the main screen remain the same. For example, as you can see on this picture, you place the calibrate patient flow. We will see on the next slide other steps. Next, Mark. So once you have done your connection, whenever you are doing it, because with the current event, you can even keep the flow sensor at the breathing circuit, but the machine will tell you just open the flow and you can continue. So what once you are ready for flow sensor calibration, you just tap as it's shown on the lower picture here, you just tap the setting and then this screen will pop up, and then the screen will have calibrate patient flow, calibrate FiO2, leak testing, of course, and all of those things. So our interest here for now is just patient flow. So once you touch on that, the machine will tell you open the flow sense, which means if, for example, if it's connected to the whatever thing which is blocking, it should be taken out. Once you start calibration, the other screen will show up. As it is calibrating the flow, it will tell you wait. And then at this point, you just wait and follow the instruction. Once that is done, it will ask you to flip the flow sense.
I think we lost Dr. Sweetbutt. Can any of the panelists?
Maggie, I'm back. Yeah,
okay.
I think network issues. Next slide. No, next slide, Mag. You are still on this. Okay, yes. So, no, previous one. I think it was my network. So as you see on this one, on the lower picture, it says flip the flow sensor, which means when you started initially, if it was connected this way, you just flip it. So this time the blue side becomes on the side of the machine, and then once it's finished, it will tell you done. Then you can connect the breathing circuit. So once that is done, you just deassemble again. So it depends. If you're doing it, on the breathing circuit, it's okay. If you're doing it at the back, it's also okay. Then you have to reassemble again your breathing circuit and reconnect again on the machine and make sure it's ready for patient. So please, we emphasize this at least to be done weekly. But I don't know how busy your theater is. If you're doing you are not busy, but at least if you do it once a week, it should be okay. Papicho, should I continue? You want to summarize to our colleagues?
Là, notre présentateur vient de nous faire une illustration comment faire la calibration du capteur de débit. Alors, pour faire la calibration du capteur de débit, il y a une petite connexion qui vient, un petit connecteur pour faire une bonne connexion qui vient avec la machine. Alors, ce connecteur, il est placé derrière, comme vous avez vu dans les diapos précédentes. Commencer par d'abord inverser en mettant le côté qui était distal au malade attaché à la machine et puis vous appuyez sur l'écran, commencer la calibration et quand ça va se passer ainsi, la machine va vous demander de retourner et de faire la deuxième position en mettant le côté proximal sur les malades. Et ainsi, ça va vous montrer que la calibration est terminée et vous allez continuer à faire votre anesthésie. Et cette calibration se fait en principe une semaine, dépendant de comment votre salle d'opération est utilisée. Si l'utilisation n'est pas trop grande, alors là, vous pouvez même le faire mensuellement. Thank you.
So, is Samuel still around?
Yes, he is.
So Samuel, so I'm putting you on the hot spot. Since you have experience with using the machine, can you please highlight the steps in initiating and what are the important aspects to be considered when putting a patient on a UAMV? That you should not allow alarms and avoid unnecessary alarms. And of course, make sure the patient is safe. Samuel? Maybe he's in theater. Okay, next Mark. Okay, so this is our machine, and this is the UMV which we are discussing today. So basically, it is there to help you to manage a patient and provide anesthesia safely. And of course, this is the vent, like any other vent. If you know how to use it, it's fine. If you have challenge, of course, it become not really safe, but not really dangerous, but not safe to the patient. So our assumption is you should have at least certain basic knowledge for you to use it. So so as usual, next Mark, you start with switching it on, and maybe you have done your checks. Once when switching this machine on, we'll see it later. It will, this screen will show up, the one who's showing the machine, and then after this one, the next one which will show up will be the one of allowing you to select a patient, which means it's either use the user ones or you go with the weight which are already saved in. So if it's 50 kg, 70 kg, 100, whatever. So once you select that, the machine will give you an estimate ventilatory parameters for that patient. So once that is done, and once that is confirmed that those are the parameters you think they'll be appropriate for your patient, and now this is the time whereby you want to use the vent. We advise you have to switch the bellow isolator switch first to the ventilator side, and then that's where you will start your vent. And when you are almost finishing up with the case, you want to go back to the manual ventilation, You have to end the case from the vent and then come down, change the actuator switch to the barrel side, and then continue to vent the patient. For those who have done it or have experienced the machine, they will agree with me that in the event, you start a vent and the actuator switch is on the barrel side, the vent will put air in the barrel, so there'll be movement also in the barrel, and also the machine will be alarming. So, and of course, we understand when the machine panicking, everyone panicking theater. So to avoid those alarms and unnecessary noise, we always emphasize, if you are putting someone on the machine, change the barrel first, then go and start the machine. When you're finishing your case, change the machine and come down and change the barrel. Next, Mark. So this is what I said. So when switching on after that, after the previous screen, this is what will come. So you have two options. Go with the user one, which actually these are the pre-saved one, which will be saved by the user, or you go for the default ones, which have been set in the machine. As you can see, we have 10, 25, 50, 70, and 100 kg. On this one, you can see we selected the 7th one, and then you see these are the roughly parameter which the machine will use to ventilate the patient. As I said before, these are the estimate one. So depend on your patient. Once you select this one, you can go in the review and make sure they are appropriate to your patient you're operating. Next. Somebody for colleague, or I should continue?
Thank you. No, at this point, I would like to make a few comments. It's quite important for all of us. Pour faire la ventilation, quand vous avez déjà fait votre machine, check l'analyse de votre machine le matin avant d'utiliser. Si vous voulez une ventilation mécanique, vous avez vu sur la photo, il y a un isolateur de ventilation juste en dessous de votre soufflet. Cet isolateur doit être du côté ventilateur. Et quand il est du côté ventilateur, c'est en ce moment-là que vous pouvez faire la ventilation mécanique ou utiliser votre respirateur. S'il est du côté de machine ou de soufflet, vous ne saurez pas utiliser votre respirateur. Et quand vous allumez, pour faire la sélection de votre malade, vous allez vous rendre compte qu'il y a possibilité soit de choisir votre malade en fonction du poids que vous estimez de votre malade, ou vous pouvez faire entrer les paramétrages directement en appuyant sur un bouton de faire entrer les paramétrages, et cela vous permet de faire avancer la ventilation. Merci. Thank you.
Next, Mark. Okay. So on the main screen of UMV, there are parameters which actually they're the ones we set. So it's either you're in the volume mode, or you are in the pressure mode. This column here, the user setting, will have different parameters for you to set depend on the mode you're using. But basically, this side is there for the ones you are setting. Things like the respiratory rate, things like pressure limit, tidal volume. Of course, when you're in the volume control mode. When you're in the pressure control mode, you set the pressure and other things. But below, that is where mode are. So when change your mode, you'll see later. Just touch that, the mode will display, then you can change accordingly. On the top, I think that's low. On the top, that's the measurement one. These are the ones the machine will be telling you how the patient is performing. So this is very important, that so that we always compare with what you have set against what is displayed. Of course, when the machine has got an issue, or if there's an alarm, apart from the light to be, apart from the alarm and whatever, there will also be a message at the screen, the place where you see treated nitrous oxide. So, all right, also you can pay attention on that. All of these are made to make sure the patient is safe. Next. As I said before, changing mode is easy. You just go on the mode and then this will pop up and then you select the mode you want. Once you select, and then the machine will ask you, I want to change a mode. If you accept, it's okay, it will change. That can go from volume control to pressure control to spontaneous and wherever you want to go. It's just quite set. The most important thing you have to accept. So in the event there's no alarm on the machine, as you can see here, it says there's no alarm. So if there's an alarm, it also be displayed as it's shown on the screen. I think for those who haven't used the machine, maybe once we set time with you, we'll go through all of this practical. Next. Okay, so as I say, alarms are made to protect the patient. As I said before, the ventilator is a nice machine once you know how to use it. But if you have issues if you have issues, it might not be a good thing, and that's why they have made it with the alarms, so that they can guide you as you are using it. So if there's no alarm, the machine will say that it's shown here no alarm. But if there's alarm, it will also be displayed in telling you what it is. But also you can set the limits. For example, here, you can see the MV, MV, IMV, low MV, PIP, I, low, FiO2, all of this. So all of this you can change accordingly. Remember, before you are starting a patient, make sure you review this alarm limit and make sure they are within acceptable physiological range, so that to avoid unnecessary alarms. Next. So additional setting like the previous vent, you can change whatever you want, either it's volume, contrast, brightness, timing, and all of those. So depending on preference and what you want to see, also that is it's in the machine and it's allowed to change. Next, I think before the next, I think per picture you can summarize before we jump into discussion with the colleagues. Next, Mark.
Thank you. Nous venons de discuter sur les paramètres que vous allez utiliser sur votre respirateur, ou soit que vous aurez à faire un monitoring pendant votre ventilation. Alors, parmi les paramètres à regarder ou à paramétrer pendant votre ventilation, il y a le volume courant, il y a le débit respiratoire, il y a la pression respiratoire, il y a aussi la pression respiratoire intérieure. Alors, ces pressions dépendent de votre mode. Si vous êtes en mode volume ou en mode pression, vous aurez les paramétrages qui seront tels que le mode que vous aurez choisi. Alors, ces paramétrages vous permettent de faire une bonne ventilation pour éviter toute complication. Pour minimiser les alarmes que vous aurez selon l'âge de votre malade, vous pouvez aller au niveau des settings et puis vous appuyez sur le bouton d'alarme et vous faites un ajustement du niveau limite et inférieur de votre alarme pour vous permettre d'avoir une ventilation silencieuse. Thank you.
So now we jump into a discussion whereby I think this should be an open discussion. Next, Mark, open discussion for anyone who has encountered any challenge, if that it's in the calibration or starting the UMV or its connection, please feel free, or maybe if there's a comment from any of my colleague, Kennedy Otieno, I can see you. If you have any comment, please come in. Otherwise, I think I'll open the floor to anyone, especially participants, if you. Hello.
Hello.
Daba, Papich.
Hello, Dr. Sudbet.
Now, I wanted to.
You can, you can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was a bit busy. My background is a bit noisy. I just wanted to emphasize, first of all, that machine check is very, very important. I hope my background feedback is not bad. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that, machine check is something that we need to take very, very seriously. And I know most of us as anesthetists, sometimes we tend to relax as we continue in our profession. You come in the morning, you just anesthetize the patient and you switch on the machine without checking it. But I think I want to take this opportunity just to emphasize that machine check, routine machine check, is a recommendation for all of us, because remember, it also helps us to protect the machine and make sure that the machine is always serviceable in good condition. Other than that, it's also an element of patient safety. So those 2 points are very, very important. And we need to make sure that we always encourage each other at our workplaces. The seniors need to encourage the juniors just to make sure that machine check is done every day, so that it's easy to even pick any technical issues or any errors that the machine may have. And then the other thing I wanted to emphasize was, remember, these machines, they also work like computers, so their software is designed in such a way that regular machine check, calibration of the flow sensor, and making sure that the system check is run regularly is also a good element, for the operation of the machine software. So it's very, very important to make sure that we check our machines regularly on a daily basis before we actually give anesthesia to our patients. Yeah, so otherwise, thank you so much. I personally enjoyed the discussion. I hand over to you, Papicho or Sweetbet, whoever is on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Nos amis de Romongue, vous avez un commentaire à faire sur la présentation qu'on a fait, ou une question, une préoccupation?
Non, on n'a pas de commentaires à faire, mais c'est saluer l'initiative. Mais néanmoins, nous restons à notre soif, car on aurait aimé avoir des démonstrations sur la machine. Peut-être on aura d'autres discussions à voir comment on peut utiliser la machine. Ce que vous avez présenté se trouve sur la machine, ou bien on peut, toutes les options, on peut les avoir. C'est à saluer, la machine est moderne. Mais néanmoins, nous, on reste à notre soir comme on n'a pas encore utilisé la machine. C'est un peu difficile. On aimerait avoir un autre
Ok, merci beaucoup merci pour votre commentaire. Comme nous avons dit, nous souhaiterions avoir une session un peu plus interactive avec votre équipe. La session d'aujourd'hui a permis à nous tous de voir quelles sont les difficultés que nous avons de part et d'autre avec la machine, ou d'avoir maintenant un peu une connaissance un peu plus superficielle sur la machine, mais qui serait mieux, comme vous dites là, ça serait mieux d'avoir une interaction avec la machine ou des discussions un peu plus profondes sur l'utilisation de la machine. On le fera avec plaisir. Nous allons continuer à communiquer sur le groupe qui a été formé pour qu'ensemble nous puissions trouver un compromis et voir comment est-ce qu'on peut résoudre ce problème.
Oui, d'autant plus qu'il y a des techniciens qui ont venu voir la machine et n'ont pas pu avoir fixé la machine. Et bientôt, d'ici un mois, il y a on va commencer la formation en chirurgie de district où on va opérer beaucoup de cas. Alors, si la machine n'est pas fonctionnelle, ça sera un handicap ou si ça va avoir un impact négatif sur la formation. D'autant plus que l'hôpital de Rumongue, nous sommes un site de formation. On va recevoir 15 médecins et des anesthésistes et des infirmiers de bloc pour la formation. Si la machine n'est pas fonctionnelle à temps, je pense que, d'autant plus que même le partenaire qui a fourni la machine, c'est le même partenaire qui sera sur place. Je pense que la maison qui a déjà la machine à laquelle c'est pas un moment qui sera.
Ok, merci beaucoup pour cette information. J'aurais voulu que juste après, comme nous sommes déjà à la fin de notre présentation, j'aurais voulu que l'on puisse partager avec vous un lien pour que vous puissiez vous reconnecter et que l'on, ensemble avec l'équipe Gradion qui est avec nous ici, que l'on puisse parler, voir comment trouver un compromis au problème que vous avez soulevé. C'est bon?
Ok, pour 30 minutes, on peut se disponibiliser. Comme,
Ok, ça va. Juste après ça, je vais demander à Magdalena d'envoyer un lien dans le groupe pour Monge pour que nous puissions nous rencontrer pendant 10-15 minutes et discuter un peu, voir comment résoudre ce problème.
Ok.
Ok, je crois qu'elle la voit déjà le lien. Merci. Thank you, Sweetbird. Thank you, Magdalena.
So I think if there's no any other question, I'll turn it back to Max for on Ngajima. Unless we have a comment from colleague, I can see Kennedy Otieno. I can see other colleagues. If not, Ngajima, welcome. Oh, Max is still there?
Hello?
Yes. Let me allow Ngajima to say thank you, and then we also put up the poster.
Go, Mark. Go.
Ngajima, we can't hear you.
Hello? You say something?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Do you want me to go or you want me to start?
Okay. Let me go ahead. Thank you so much, colleagues, for joining in. Merci pour mes collègues de joindre ce rendez-vous. Il y a ma plaisir. Nous sommes très contentes pour toutes les questions. Thank you so much for all our colleagues who have joined this meeting. Thank you so much for your participation and your questions. Please feel free to reach out to us on WhatsApp and also give us your feedback on customers@gradienthealth.org. we are here to support you via our online training. If you feel like you and your colleague within your hospital, you need some more support on the use of any of our machines, that's the UAM, ICV, the Prima, whichever machine that you have access to, please let us know so that we can start organizing. We usually open a WhatsApp group so that we can support you. For the Rumonge team, I would like to confirm if Monsieur Bamtama, tu es dans le groupe WhatsApp pour Rumonge et je pense que Rushubi ou Rukoki, tu es dans le groupe. C'est très important de planifier votre formation.
We are not in the group.
Okay, then we can plan for a separate training for you. I'll follow up in the group. It's très important vous joindre la formation. Oui, merci.
Okay.
Yeah. So on top of that, I would like to invite you on the 27th for our sorry about this. Yeah. We have a webinar series on the gradient anesthesia and critical care webinar series for principles of pediatric induction of anesthesia. We will send out this this card to all the WhatsApp groups. For Rumonge, pour les hôpitaux qui parlent français, we will try to have we'll try to see if we can have what is it called, the words down on the webinar, and see if we can have a translation in French. Otherwise, we can also discuss on how we can start carrying out webinars in French if you bring in your colleagues and you are a number. So merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. And thank you very much for this first speaking. Au revoir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.
Okay.
Mais moi, si nous nous rencontrons de l'autre côté.
Ok, oui, on attend encore le lien.
Ok, Max.
Yeah.
Check the webinar, the internal webinar.
The chat.
Yes, please.
And answer. Or please help us to have a video tutorial on how to connect and calibrate the ventilator. Oh, okay. She's left. Nehemia Mpoi, which hospital are you in? You can just unmute and let us know, or you can chat.
I'm coming from Itiso Health Center.
Sorry?
Hanet Cascade in Dodoma. Hanet Cascade in Dodoma.
Which center?
Hanet Health Center.
Hanet, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gajima will reach out to you.
Okay.
I hope you have your number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Gajima will reach out since you are within the same place. We have also Dr. Sweetbat from Tanzania. So that is a bit easier. Yeah. Thank you so much for your participation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, merci. Merci pour les collègues. Bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Bye.